Hey, check it. Hey, check it. Put the place up.
What's going on? It's the local Gridiron on RoCo Radio as we get you ready for round 2 of the high school football playoffs. We've got a great show for you coming up. Your Rams review as they get a win over RS Central 56-22. We'll take a look at that second round against East Rutherford. We'll also take a look at your RoCo Radio player of the game. We'll talk the Mid-State 2A other teams in the playoffs and take a closer look at those matchups, other good matchups in the 2A West, and we'll talk about our amazing community as well. That's coming up here on the local Gridiron. Yours truly, Joe Dexter, David Woods up in the top box. We got Jay Ramey down below and the Hat Man, Jonathan Hatley. What's going on, guys?
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
This is the time of year.
Got the hot chocolate.
Here we go. I'll tell you what. You know what's good? Carolina officially said, well, Mac officially said that he's back for next year. So November 30th can't get here quick enough. We're just going to tell you. I'll just say that. I'll keep it shut. Y'all know what November 30th is. Ain't that right, Charlotte? That's right.
Yeah, the day after Thanksgiving.
No.
Or no, the Saturday after Thanksgiving.
There's a commitment coming. There's a commitment.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And it's
my
a big
grandpa's
one.
birthday.
Sorry, like Mac Brown, I fell asleep. Sorry.
Oh, here you go. That's okay. When that commit comes and he's on the way to Chapel Hill, there won't be no night time. It's gonna be. Let's go. Touchdown.
Well, actually, I'll throw a party for you. If you can land Agent Zero, your team, that also means number one's probably coming. So we're going to have a good party. I would hope. That's my hopes. I'm not a Tar Heel fan, but that would be my hopes. That would be awesome. As David did mention, November 30th, Kendra Harrison has announced that he will make it public what his commitment will be at the next level. Well, the Reidsville Rams were committed to the running game, but the passing game was the difference in round 1, a 56-22 win over RS Central. Before we get to that, I want to tell you how you can listen in to our broadcast on Friday. We've got several different ways to do so in round 2. We'll have your pregame show at 6:45, brought to you by the Reidsville Chamber of Commerce and Visitor Center. You can find us right here on Facebook, facebook.com/Radio Rockingham, where you can interact during the broadcast, and we encourage that. As well as here, we'd love to see you in the comments during the local Gridiron. You can also find us on YouTube by searching for RoCo Radio and at RoCoRadio.com. Now, if you want to interact, RoCoRadio.com is a straight listening way. There's no interacting or comments on RoCoRadio.com. Or if you just want to listen on your mobile device while you're traveling, if you're on the road, or you're just looking to put it on a singular device, you can download the Live 365 app and search for RoCo Radio. That's how you can find all the hits 24/7, RoCoRadio.com. Well, let's take a look at that 56-22 win for Reidsville. 30 points in the second quarter. Jay, let us know what happened down there at Community Stadium on Friday.
Deontay Neal. That's what happened. Deontay Neal looked fantastic. the absence of Jariel Cobb, you knew that you were going to need to see some throws from Deontay Neal, and that's exactly what you got. Even the times that there were incompletions, a lot of them looked like good throws.
Hatley, 11 different guys carry the ball, but as Jay alluded to, Deontay Neal was the difference maker in the game. What did you see from Neal as well at quarterback that made the game?
Neal was just so elusive out there. RS Central was actually getting pressure into the backfield, and they kept pressure on him all game, but they just could not bring Neal down. He was sliding side to side, just evading tackles, and then he was making good throws. His only pick came off of a tip ball that should have been caught. It was a very impressive performance by Deontay Neal and the rest of that Rams offense.
Two receivers with over 100 yards. Kendra Harrison had several big plays in this one. Agent Zero at it again offensively. How do you stop a man like that? When you watch the plays, it's not just simply that he was wide open. It was that he made catches and then made plays after the catch. How can teams plan against this guy? Is there a way?
Bring a baseball bat to the field?
Triple team him. That's the only thing I can tell you to do, because double teaming don't work. Triple teaming don't work. 11 guys to him don't work. I mean, there's really nothing you can do.
There was this crazy play where Deontay Neal avoided like 78 tackles, and then he threw it, and Kendra caught the ball for a second and popped it out of his hands. It was almost like he lateraled it to himself, and he's just got such long arms that he just caught it and kept running. It was crazy.
There was that touchdown, too, in the second quarter, I believe it was, where it was thrown to one side of the field, makes the catch, several guys draped on him, drags them across the middle of the field, gets to the near sideline, and just walks in. I mean,
it's not shocking.
I'm going to tell you what, that's sure going to look good in Chapel Hill next year. That's all I got to say. That's all I got to say. That's all I got to say. I ain't saying nothing else.
For the rushing attack, 11 different ball carriers. I thought that stood out when talking to you guys after we covered the Moorhead game, but after watching the tape, really when you break it down, it was Keyshawn Henry and his performance, 12 carries, 116 yards in that first half. He got a majority, the bulk of the carries in that first half when it mattered, averaged almost 10 yards per carry. What a great bounce back. Jariel Cobb is injured in the Moorhead game, and Henry rushes 7 times for just 17 yards in that one. He's able to adjust with just 12 carries, get that 116 yards, as well as 2 touchdowns. What were your guys' overall thoughts on the run game, plus your thoughts on the freshman, Henry?
Well, the O-line's looking great when it comes to, opening up those ways for a freshman to bust through. But they're even without Michael Smith, who's their blocking back usually on most of their plays, and they still did a great job. I was impressed by Keyshawn Henry. The little stats I had of him, I was hoping that he would actually show something, and he did. But I expected to see a ton of different ball carriers, and he was just the main one. So he's got a bright future ahead of him for, 3 more years? Crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Looking forward, Jonathan, it's round 2 now. This is real football. These are real teams winning records. What you see on the field is what you're going to get, and the tape tells the story. Can Henry hold up against tougher defenses as we advance throughout the playoffs?
I think Henry is really durable back. He's not got the Jariel Cobb speed, but he runs hard straight ahead. He's not afraid of contact. He gets a lot of yards after contact. Just a strong kid and only a freshman. He's got 3 more years to develop, to get bigger, to get stronger, to grow, to learn that offense even more. You give it another couple of years, and I'd like to see him get out with the track coach, develop a little bit more straight line speed. And with the combination of power that he already has and speed, he would be a very, very dangerous back.
I'm going to tell you what. He didn't even look like a freshman when I was watching tape on him. He already looked like he's been in high school a couple of years. I mean, the way he was running the show, man. I mean, like you said, he was durable. He was not afraid of contact. He was going straight for it, and that's what you want to see out of a good running back.
Not only was he getting the first contact in the yards afterwards, but what I noticed, kind of complimenting on what you guys have said, is the vision for a freshman. He saw where he needed to go through the contact, whether it was through the contact or going around it. I just thought that for a freshman, just watching the tape at least, that was very impressive to see a kid be able to do that after being thrown right into the mix just for a couple plays the week before.
And Eric Teague, I think he kind of kept him in his back pocket. I think he knew what he's all about. I mean, he sees him every day. I mean, he sees him in practice all the time. I think he knew he kept him in his back pocket. That's what Eric Teague does. He's a man of few words when we talk to him. He's going to be the rising GOAT, don't get me wrong, but he's a man of few words, but he knows how to get it done, man. He's a good offensive coordinator.
Speaking of few words, I don't think there's any more words I can come up with to describe Deontay Neal. Deontay Neal doing Deontay Neal things, our RoCo Radio Player of the Week. He did Deontay Neal things on Friday, going 18 of 23, 381 yards and 3 touchdowns. The junior signal caller was just 6 yards from breaking Kendon Doe's record for most passing yards in a game, which happened against Western Alamance with 385 yards in 2003. Neal also returned a kickoff, 88 yards for 6 points. And look at these numbers, guys, at quarterback. 76% of his passes completed, 2,400 yards, 29 touchdowns to just 2 interceptions. This was a guy that was, like they say on the message boards, just a third string before the start of this season. Can we get the argument started that he's one of the best quarterbacks in the state of North Carolina? Can we start talking about that at a state level?
Well, one second. I want to talk about the worst part. I was so excited. Deontay Neal almost got the interception that was going to be the interception for him.
I saw
it was
that.
a pop-up fly ball, and he just missed it. And I was hoping me and Hatley would get to it before you two did. But, I'm just telling the truth. And, man, he just missed it. And if he would have gotten 6 more yards and that would have been one of the greatest all-time performances, maybe in North Carolina high school history.
You know, I know you want to talk about, yes. Let's just go ahead and start talking about that argument. I think he's one of the best in the state of North Carolina. And let's talk about why these 2A schools are not getting recruited. Heavy. I don't understand it. Please explain it to me. I mean, what has he got right now? He's got Carolina, Western Kentucky. What else?
I think as far as football, that's the bottom line. I think maybe there's some other smaller ones. But football-wise, that's the cat's meow from what I've understood. There might be more, but how do you keep putting up these numbers with this completion percentage, with this calmness in the pocket, and we know maybe he doesn't play quarterback at the next level, whatever. You can see the athleticism on the field. This isn't just a basketball player. Offer this kid. Or are they afraid that their offer is not going to mean anything because he's going to play basketball? Even if it doesn't. Man alive, it's just the disrespect across the board. And we're gonna talk about Cameron Jones later in the show, verbally committing to Morgan State. There's another guy. You look at these 2A players like you're talking about, David, and it's just the disrespect across the board. Maybe you can get that argument in 2004, 1994. Oh, he's not big enough. This is 2024. Size doesn't matter in that if you've got the elite athleticism.
No, he's a proven winner. He's a baller. What are you doing, guys? I mean, come on, Jamie Chadwell, if you're listening to me from Liberty. Recruit this man. Cam Jones, recruit this man. He ain't getting Agent Zero. We get that. He's a 5-star.
Troy Calhoun, recruit the man.
Yeah. I mean, what are we doing here? I mean, come on. I mean, this is one of the things that I've loved about, just broadcasting these past 2 years with you and then, the kid and Hatley. I mean, we get to see some almost cuss. We get to see some extremely good ball players. I mean, It is awesome. I mean, just going from town to town and seeing all these great running backs, receivers, quarterbacks, and 2A especially, man, It's frustrating.
And for those that are watching, they're like, these guys are homers. That's why. It's not that. Here's another aspect. And I'm not going to say names because I don't want it to sound that way, and I'm not going to say names of schools. But in the same conference, there is a wide receiver that at one point in the season led all of North Carolina in receiving yards. But it's more than that. He's a good athlete. He's at D3 schools right now getting visits. And it's not a pick on any certain situation. It's that these 2A athletes, they don't get the love that they deserve. And I thought that, especially in this transfer portal era, here I'm sitting on X yesterday. Oh my gosh, I didn't call it Twitter. I deserve a high five for that. X. I'm on X, and I'm seeing these D3 level programs, Division 3. Hey, transfer portal is open. Send me your transfer portal tape. If we can't get D3 opportunities for high school players what are we doing? There has to be a change in that aspect, and I know we're close to it. 2A's in our hearts. That's the football that we cover, 2A West specifically. So we have a feel for the guys that don't get the love that they deserve. But still, I'm sure this is a story across the state. It's a story across the country where the change in football is leaving these good, gritty, hard-working players without opportunities.
That's it.
Well, I'll tell you, in 2 games this year, I've seen potentially 3 quarterbacks better than Deontay Neal, just pure quarterbacks. Mahan from Williams,
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
and the 2 that they got playing at Dudley.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're like Deontay, just phenomenal athletes. The only rub that they got over Deontay is they're a little bit bigger. But he's got every bit as much arm. He's more elusive in the pocket. Not that they got pressured in the pocket a lot when we saw him, but he avoids the tackles. The only strike I can see against him is just his size.
I'd like to see him get an academic scholarship. I mean, he's got great grades. He's a good kid.
That's what I'm saying. Calhoun, step up, man. Get him pitching the ball to Jariel.
Did you see
one
that?
thing.
Hold on a second, David. We got to talk. Did you just see that block and tackle from Jonathan Hatley on the pup?
I know, man.
Did you see that smooth move right there?
That pup needs to enter the transfer portal. What's going on over there?
Let's go to the comments real quick. The Chosen One puts it well. College scouts may think that 2A athletes are a low-level player. 1A and 2A teams can beat 4A any day.
Enough said. You ain't got to say no more. That takes care of it right there. Just does.
Plain and simple.
Pound for pound and man for man, I agree. 4A, the elite 4A programs, they just got the numbers.
That's it.
And there's more competition to get on teams in 4A. So if you do make it onto the team in 4A, they know that you're not.
Well, I mean, they're carrying 80 and 90 man rosters in 4A.
No, but to get like starting time on a team
with
80 people is more impressive than 26.
Yeah, and you're having to play both ways.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't want to see a 2A player that plays constantly both ways all the time to want to come.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing a man in the Heisman race in college that's like that.
I know. Generational. And I mean, you might see it more. You never know. Maybe he's opened up something at Colorado that you might see more of at different schools. Kids playing both ways. I mean, we're used to it. We see it all the time. It's nothing new to us. But in college, it's different, man. I mean, you might see more of it. You never know.
Well, I think schools are going to start taking advantage of the fact that it's this way. If they don't plan on going to the transfer portal, they'll notice that other schools aren't taking advantage of the lower the schools with the less amount of people,
like D2
less
and
enrollment,
D3.
and then they'll start going to them.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing about the transfer portal, though, is if you don't get to a school and get to it quick, you're left out in the dust. They don't care. They don't care what you do.
Nope.
I mean, it's just the way it is, man. It's a cutthroat game. I mean, like I said, you can be one of the best. And if you don't get there in time and somebody takes your spot, left and right, I mean, you're left out in the dust. And look what you got to do. You got to go from D1 to D3 or D2 because, it's just the way it is, man. I hate it. I mean, the transfer portal, I think is transfer one time. Be done with it. You shouldn't get this 5 or 6 times to – I mean, you got guys that are in college right now that are 8 or 9 year starters.
Right.
It's different.
Red shirt, COVID year, just
COVID year,
it goes on and on.
COVID year, I can understand, injuries.
But the COVID year has a COVID year at this point.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's true too.
Let's go to the chirp box. Mike in Houston. Dang it, Hatley. We like our dudes small in North Carolina. See Dexter Joe.
Wow.
And a great question from Melita in the comments is why I say the conference size has something to do with it. Is it going to change with the 8 divisions in NC starting next year? I don't think it is going to have any impact.
Maybe not.
I just don't see the recruiting side of things being changed by that at all.
No, because they got their certain high schools that they really look into, and I mean that's just the way it is.
I mean they're looking at Independence. They're looking at Gramsley.
Yeah.
They're looking at these
wonder
big
why high
schools.
schoolers want to transfer. It's like case in point right there.
I mean, maybe Kendra changes things too. I mean, you got he goes to the Charlotte area, plays a couple games, and then he's back. I mean, he didn't need to leave. I mean, but he wanted to do what's best for him, and that's okay too. It's no problem with that. But I mean, you're in Reidsville, you're a 2A, you can get recruited. We see that with Kendra. He can go anywhere he wants to right now. Well,
I mean, he was getting looked at before he decided to go to Charlotte.
Yeah, I mean, he had all the Power 5 places in the world. I mean, he can go to. In the
This
small
is no disrespect to any other athlete, but when you're 6'7", 200,000 pounds of pure steel right away, I mean, it's going to bring the recruits. What my fear is that these coaches are going to forget about Reidsville once that junior year turns into the senior year, and once Deontay and Kendra are gone, these athletes that deserve looks, that deserve opportunities are just going to be passed by like they have been in the past. If you talk to Reidsville fans specifically, they can cite many different situations where players deserve the look and didn't get it. And it's not for any reason, but they don't trust in Reidsville. Well, do you want to build a playoff pedigree program? It starts with bringing in players with pedigree to win. All Reidsville does is win. So why can't they get an opportunity to even be looked at? I'm not saying that all these kids deserve a scholarship. Let's go hand them off like Oprah Winfrey giving out free cars and stuff. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is show up and give a look to them. If you show up to Community Stadium, if you show up and stand on the sidelines at Jimmy Teague Field, you will see what you're missing. That's all I'm asking. Show up. Show up once.
And then it don't just go for Reidsville. It goes for a lot of these 2A schools around here, man. Yep. I mean, it's not fair. I mean,
go ahead, Mike.
I mean, like I said, I'll fully support them. I mean, if there was a committee to say, hey, look, we need to fight for the 2A, we're all for it. All 4 of us are. We'll take advantage of it. A lot of coaches will take advantage of that. I mean, it's disrespectful. That's the main word for it.
Mike in the comments, level of competition is generally higher at big schools, which is true. Same knock when small college kids compare to Power 4 schools for the NFL. That's fair. Not saying it's right or that it's not talent in smaller schools, but that's why they look there. Yeah. For example, scouts can see 10 guys at a big school game. You can scout 1 or 2 at a small school game. Well, to that point, I get what you're saying, and I agree 1,000%. But this is where I'll disagree. You can show up for the first quarter at Reidsville, and then you can go wherever you want where the 10 different players are in Greensboro, for our example.
That's the downside to having all of the games on one night.
You can still show up to 4 different games. I mean, it's still possible. You have a coaching staff. You have
helicopters. They fly in.
And they have NFHS, they have Max Preps, they have the internet. These kids' highlights are all over the internet every week. all you had to do is pull it up.
Yep.
Well, I didn't intend the show to go down that rabbit hole, but it did, and it was a good
Yes,
rabbit
you
hole.
did, Joe. You're gonna clip this and put it on your Twitter. You're gonna put some awesome music behind it. That'll be it, man.
That's the ball game. Well, let's get back to what we originally came here for, to talk about the second round of the playoffs, Reedsville and East Rutherford. Let's take a preview at the East Rutherford Cavaliers, 7-3 overall, 4-1 in the Mountain Foothills. Guys, this is just a great story. You talk about a program that was down to just 13 players. They had to cancel varsity football for a year to get back into the swing of things, move up to 60 players in their program, and now back to winning ways under head coach Philip Russ, who took over interim last year and gets the job full-time this year, with some young guys that are developing, some good juniors led by Brandon Pinkerton.
Who's starting
Yeah,
off?
Brandon Pinkerton, as of when I checked Max Preps this week, 250 carries, 1,664 yards, and 28 touchdowns. I mean, just ridiculous video game numbers. And also is a threat to catch the ball out of the backfield at times. You know, he only had 8 receptions for 48 yards, but 2 of those were touchdowns. He's got a lot of different ways that he can beat you. He can beat you with speed. He can beat you with power. He's one of those multi-purpose backs that can get it done. And, you know, he's one of those guys that you're going to hand the ball to when you need 4 yards.
When I watch the tape, the things that stand out, and I'm going to play this back here a little bit, is you can see the way that he runs with the football. It's just the feet are always moving with this guy. They never stop. And it might not be that he's got the best juke move in the field. He might not have all the athleticism, but what he does have is the understanding of the position at tailback, as well as linebackers. You see here out in the flats making an interception on a pass just off the hash. This is a guy that everything is surrounded around when you look at the tape. I mean, 6', 160, but he plays like he's 6'7", 225. I really love watching players like this, and it's going to bring a challenge. It reminds me of Wes Stokes and Aiden Cherry, the same type of player where if he gets the ball and there's anywhere to go, he's going to be able to find some lanes, 4-5 here, 4-5 here, 5-6 here. And quarterback Landon Flynn, he does have an arm. He can make plays, and the offense for me, when I've watched it in that shotgun and pistol, is predicated on that running game. They're going to use it in play action to set up their offense and to throw the football. This is, for me, I'm not saying that, oh my gosh, halt the bus, this game is going to be very close. I'm not saying, but what I'm saying for a round 2 matchup, this is a very good team.
Yep, I think so. I mean, you know, when I watch tape on them, I mean, what I've seen is, you know, you have your H-back. He's pretty much going in motion, getting back in the same spot. I mean, You're seeing guards pull. I mean, you know, it's probably on this play right here. Well, no, not right here. But, I mean, guards pulling. I mean, they didn't have to throw the ball but 6 times in the first round. But what scares me is I got the whole script right here for the North Lincoln game that we went down and watched them last year. And we know that they are a very good triple option, very good defensive team. They put up 55 points against these guys. I mean, you had Landon Flynn, the quarterback. He goes 25 for 39 for 421 yards, 3 touchdowns. What did they do different? I want to see this passing game of what they done, you know, to put up 55 points. Pinkerton, he had 26 carries for 182. So as a team, they had they had a well over 600 yards of total offense, which was crazy. So, I mean, you know, we'll see what happens, man. Like you said, this team reminds me of Wes Stokes for sure.
You can see Flynn in his throwing motion here.
I can't believe he got 327 yards rushing. That is ridiculous.
He is the bell cow of the offense. Everything is dictated based off of him. And so if they're going to give the look, this is what I feel about the offense, going back to David's point. As I've got clips on here from Chase, and I got clips from North Surrey. The way the offense went against North Surrey, he did struggle a little bit. The quarterback, Flynn, he threw 2 interceptions in that game. The running game was was more open, so they went with it. In the chase game, the running game wasn't as open, so they used the pass. And so it was interesting to see they're going to use the quarterback is skilled enough with 3 years under varsity experience to know what to do, and the play calling is going to go through what is working best. That being said, the interior rush has been an issue for Reidsville. Is it an issue here? I'm not saying that's the case. I still think that the Rams control this ball game. I still think that the Rams are going to have a good time out there running the football and making big plays. No matter how well your offense does, they can score twice as fast as you can.
Mm-hmm. That's it. But is this the week 2 that maybe Coach Morris switches it up instead of the 4-3? You know how he switched up to the 3-4 in Walkertown. I mean, once you get deeper in the playoffs, you're going to see some really good running backs, not just besides East Rutherford. I mean, there's going to be more good running backs. There's a chance that we might see Willis Jr. from Bunker Hill. I mean, he's a very good running back. I mean, he had last year he did have over 2,000 yards rushing, didn't he? So there's a chance we might see him. I mean, does he start to switch things up just to kind of, just in case they have an issue in the, in the interior defensive line? We'll see about that too.
So this is the number one thing. If I am if I'm East Rutherford, this cannot happen on Friday. That's not Deontay Neal's speed. And this special teams play, if that happens against Reidsville with Deontay Neal back there, Frankie Galloway and company, there could be 2 or 3 returns for a touchdown, and the game could be iced.
I mean, if that happens, we're all going to be singing Kumbaya at the end of the first quarter. We're not going to have to worry about nothing.
I mean, compared to Deontay or Frankie returning kicks, that kid looked like he had his feet in the mud.
Scott Schrader, you're exactly right.
Scott says Rams by 3 touchdowns, exactly too much talent, but Rams heel will be run defense. If they can't score 60, won't beat the Rams. That's exactly how I see it. I mean, and even though the interior defense might be the heel, it's never been the heel that has burned the Rams. And
no, because they put up just about 60 a game. You give up 22 on a bad night, that's fine. I mean, if you still rush for 200, that's okay. We're still going to put up 60.
I mean, that's pretty similar to what happened with Page, except Page didn't beat them with the run game. They beat them that night with the pass game when they were scoring their points.
Yeah.
But, they had a bad night on defense. They gave up 3 touchdowns. That seems to be Reidsville's bad night is 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And here's the bottom line. Tell me a team in the state or a quarterback in the state, no matter where they're going, whether it's UNC, I don't care if they're going to Tennessee, that can throw for 381 yards in a ball game.
Right.
I don't know. I don't.
They got one at Williams. He's going to Duke.
I still don't know if he's going to be into a position as an athlete where he can control the game so much where the all-purpose yards.
No.
You know what I mean?
He's a QB1, and he's a QB only.
Don't nobody want to go to. Who wants to go to Rocky Top? Who wants to go to Tennessee? You nothing to do up there. You don't want to go to Tennessee.
You mean aside from isn't that where Faison committed to?
Yep.
Yeah. He's making a mistake. He wants to go to Carolina. He wants
to follow in the footsteps of Peyton Manning.
Oh, you can't follow those footsteps. That's some big footsteps right there, guys.
Well, let's talk the Reidsville Rams as we get ready for round 2 and talk pedigree, because this matters in the playoffs. It just does. It's the bottom line. This is the football capital of North Carolina. Reidsville is 28-0 in the home playoff games that they've played at Community Stadium since the start of the 2016 postseason. 28-0. The Rams are 38-3 in the postseason during that same stretch, with 5 state titles and 7 state championship appearances over the last 8 seasons. Blue Death is now 84-2 in the playoffs since 2002 and holds a home playoff record of 71-5 during that time frame. Coaches, college coaches. You want respect, just look at those numbers. It's called winning.
This is just a recruiting show.
We love our kids. We want to see them get the best
I
opportunities.
didn't say it's a bad thing.
Heck yeah. Hey, I'm going to get on the phone with Mac Brown right now. I got him on speed dial.
Oh, my gosh.
Get on here. Let's talk.
We don't put
David,
people on
don't
speed
call.
dial anymore,
It's
David.
7:47. Mac is sleeping. He's getting ready for a
Fine,
big day.
fine.
Sleepy
All right, he might
Mac.
be
Sleepy
asleep.
Mac.
He
He already had his warm milk for the evening.
He might be asleep, but my alum, old Jamie Chadwell, I'm the alum from Liberty. I can officially say that now. I am a Liberty University alum. Thank you. 4 hard years. I'm telling you, it was tough. Good day. It was tough. But Jamie Chadwell, I'll call him. He'll be up all night. He'll
You
take
need
a
to
look.
celebrate by going to the Liberty game on Saturday, David.
Huh?
You need to celebrate by going to the Liberty game on Saturday.
There's a possible chance that
I'm
they
going.
have Are you? Are you going?
Yeah.
That's going to be a big one. So it's going to come down to the last game of the year that they might be in the conference championship.
No,
If they're in the conference championship, it's going to be at Liberty.
You want to talk about a team in a conference championship for a team that lost to a team that just fired their head coach and put the job on Indeed.com.
I mean, we can't help that. We couldn't help that. But, hey, you know what? We're about to see an upset this Saturday. Don't worry about it. I wouldn't even call it an upset anymore.
It's not an upset. It's
Indiana
a toss-up.
Hoosiers, baby. Indiana Hoosiers by 2 touchdowns. Let's go.
Can you read between the lines?
I thought that went like this.
Oh, my bad.
You started it. Hey, none but love. None but love.
All right, let's get back to the domination. How UNC feels when they play other teams. Reedsville has really, really dominated in the playoffs. There is a tangible difference in having to come play at Community Stadium versus playing on the road. I mean, these teams come in here with a chance, thinking they have a chance to win, but the numbers show it's just total domination, as Scott says in the comments.
I mean, that's true too. I mean, at least we don't have windows blocking the crowd stuff. Just kind of throwing a little shade out there, I reckon. I mean, the atmosphere is absolutely fantastic. I mean, especially when it gets in the deeper rounds. I mean, the first round, you're not really going to get as much because they already expecting to win in the first round. The teams are they're kind of competitive, but are not as competitive. But once you get in the deeper rounds, I mean, it gets wild. I have seen it with my own eyes. It is wonderful. I mean, the band you feel like it's 10 times louder than when it was a regular season game. I mean, it's fun. Y'all are going to have a good time. It is absolutely fun.
We're live from Shelby as we bring you this game with no crowd noise. Tonight, it is a very good matchup between Shelby and Moorhead.
Now, don't get me wrong. They had a nice facility. They had a
Beautiful
really nice
facility.
It is beautiful. It is great facility. But, I mean, the one thing I would change if I was Shelby, put in some new windows, have some kind of up. I mean, I don't know. I felt like I was.
Okay. Because hey, from hearing hearing it in the high school talk group, Shelby's lit every game. They talk about how their crowd shows up, shows out, and all this, and y'all couldn't even hear it.
No,
I felt like I was in the ticket booth for the Reedsville Luckies. Let's just say that. I mean, I couldn't hear nothing.
Hey, you didn't attend tonight?
Which is true. Shelby's PA system was placed in World War II. And so is the press box was built back then as well. So it's all glassed in. David, I asked him to bring a drill, but he didn't. So
I didn't. But, I mean, one good thing about it, man, once you walk up those steps, it is nothing but Shelby history. I mean, it's cool. So much. It is awesome to see. Like, when you walk up them steps, like you're seeing nothing but history all the way through that press box, man. It's pretty nice.
I might get chastised for this, but that's fine. Shelby has some great people, too.
They do.
They were so kind to us.
They're very nice.
You appreciate that when you go on the road.
Absolutely.
Any thoughts defensively as we head into this matchup with East Rutherford? Any changes you'd like to see? Anything that you guys would like to shout out from round one?
Like Reedsville's defense,
Yes.
they gotta stop these flags on both sides of the ball. But yeah, just gotta lock down that run defense. This is going to be a good team to try and work against that for. So, I mean, I think it's good you're facing a team with a guy like Pinkerton in round number 2. Because if you can get past them, it means you can get past an elite running back. Even if Landon Flynn hasn't been super impressive, and you might face, a great run team and a great pass team, you just want to get past that great run team at least once.
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
I mean, I think they're going to have to treat it like they did the West Stokes game. Really focus in on that halfback run. They got some decent receivers, and their quarterback, not terrible numbers. He had that big game against who was it? Chase.
Mm-hmm.
And North Lincoln too.
But I'll tell you, they've got a sleeper in there, and he's probably their number 4 receiver in receptions. But he had 16 receptions this year for 507 yards. And he's a Pinkerton too. Matthew Pinkerton.
Okay. Yeah, in that game against North Lincoln, he had 2 catches for 45. It was Goolsby and McLennan. They're the ones that had the brute of the catches. I mean, you had Blake.
Yeah.
Number 11, he had 10 catches for 205, and he had Goolsby. He had 8 catches for 121. Both had a touchdown apiece. I mean, I think honestly, that game was the majority of their receiving totals for the year. And North Lincoln's not bad. They're not bad whatsoever. I mean, I just don't know.
Oh, I loved watching their offense in the game film I watched. Oh, man.
When their offense is on.
It looked like Service Academy football.
We've seen that with our own eyes, ain't we, Joe?
Yeah.
So are you guys worried at all about Reedsville's game on Friday?
And here's why. So, okay, I'm going to preface this because it's kind of funny. I think it's the situation we all go through, and any fans that do deep scouting and stuff. When you watch the tape, so you're watching East Rutherford, and I'm watching, this is a good team. We talked about the offense. Like, they can move the ball, running it interior-wise. They like to run it right up the middle, use that to set up the pass. This quarterback's got a good arm. He makes good decisions most of the time. You start breaking that down. Then I look at the defense. Man, their front line is good, solid. Their linebackers are athletic, super athletic. And I'm getting worried, right? I'm building it up. And I'm building up. I'm starting to see these corners, man, they can cover a little bit. I don't know how you adjust. Then you go, oh, I don't care how many athletes you have at outside linebacker. You're going to have to drape 7 on them to bring down Kendra Harrison. It don't matter. There's no tape that can tell a story. The story is very simple. I mean, it's meat, it's potatoes. There's no gravy. You can't find an outlier.
My man. I mean, I just think Reedsville, we're just too athletic. We have too much speed. I mean, I like the defense that they're rolling with now. The 4-3 is fine. It ain't going to matter. We're still going to put up 60, 65 points a game. I mean, you can line these. You can run that pistol 4 receiver, 3 receiver set, 1 to the right, 1 to the left. You can run 10 receivers out there. We have got too much speed. We're too athletic. I mean, it's going to be another fun night. Cam Jones, mama, there goes that man. Wished he would have went to Liberty or Carolina. Cam Jones. He's going to have 2 touchdowns. He's going to have over 100 yards. Kendra's going to have over 100 yards. I mean, you're going to see the freshmen at running back doing work. I mean, it's going to be another fun night at Community Stadium. I'm ready. I can't wait to get there. We haven't been there. How long has it been, Joe? It's been a couple of weeks. It's been a while. So I'm ready to be back there. I'm ready to have that crowd mic in my hand. I'm ready to stick it out the window. I'm ready to say, hey, listen to this. This is what you call an atmosphere. Let's go to work. Let's clock
we don't use our crowd mic at Reedsville because it gets so loud.
You know me. Once I get that crowd mic in my hand, I'm ready to throw it out there. Hey, you hear this? You listen to this band. Let's throw our hands up like we just don't care. Let's go win a state championship, baby. That's what we're here for. We're here to build these boys up because they deserve it. They're winners. They're proven winners. Nothing but winners. You see it in the stats. You see it in the proof is in the pudding.
We talked about Keyshawn Henry a little bit earlier, but Scott says, I was truly impressed with the freshman.
Yes.
Reminds me of a young Cobb. Yeah, with the shiftiness, with the vision, absolutely. And Melita in the comments, what will happen if they shut Harrison down? I'll run down the streets with no shirt on. That's what will happen.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to happen.
Okay, if they can somehow manage to shut down Kendra, it's going to take 3 to 4 of them to do it, which means Cameron's going to be open, J9's going to be open. Somebody else out there is going to pick up the slack. That is what Reidsville does. You know, you shut down one weapon, they go to another. You shut down that weapon, they go to another. That is what they do. That is what they do. That's what they've done for the last however many years.
If they do shut him down, this man right here, mama, there goes that man. He's going to have the biggest game of his lifetime. You might as well
your lock screen,
200
isn't it,
yards.
David?
200 yards. That's what it's going to be. But they're not going to shut Kendra down. Ain't going to happen.
David, is that your lock screen?
No. I had to find it on Facebook.
That's quintessentially what Cam Jones has developed into. It's not just this, but the skill is Agent 0.5. There's Agent 0 and Agent 0.5. He's the same build, same skill set, can do the same damage to you. He's going to run you over. He's going to make you feel it. And by the way, he does not drop the ball. He makes the catch every time.
Cameron Jones reminds me of a Larry Fitzgerald type receiver with more speed.
I like it. Okay.
It's a good comp.
Like it.
He is sure-handed as it comes, and he can beat you with speed. Fitzgerald, he was more of a guy that would beat you off the cut, beat you off the route. Cameron Jones, he will go deep, and he will burn you.
And he does it quietly. It's like he he's there.
Yeah, it's like he sneaks in under the radar.
But he's under the radar the whole time. And then you look at the stats, and you're like, okay, we know we've seen Cam catch all these balls. We know we've seen him gain a bunch of yards. But dang, 200 yards? And he does it quietly.
Yeah, he's kind of nonchalant about it, you know?
He is. Extremely.
That's exactly right, Jay. He really is, man.
Humble, doesn't get in with all the celebrating, all the showboating. He just hands the ball back to the referee and goes about his business.
That's what he does.
Crisp routes.
Yes.
Every time.
It's going to be a lot of mama. There goes that man on Friday night. That's all I got to tell you.
He treats every play like he is going to get the football.
Yeah.
Whether he is or not, he treats every play like he is going to get the
football. And that's why it's so hard for the defense to read him.
That's true. All of that is true. Every bit of it. I like it.
Let's talk other playoff games, other matchups that matter in the 2A West, to us at least. Guys, if you have any games, let us know while we're talking. But let's start with number 11, West Stokes, taking on East Surrey, the top seed above them, despite West Stokes beating them earlier this year. That game taking place in week number 3, a 26-23 win for West Stokes. Derek Studer had 3 receptions for 122 yards in that game. An interception for quarterback Sam Reeves was returned for a touchdown, really a difference in that game. Here's the stat that sticks out to me that might determine this game looking at it forward. Only 92 rushing yards for West Stokes in that matchup in week 3 against that East Surrey defense. If they can't get the running game going, it might be in East Surrey's favor.
That's true. I mean, and honestly, too, I mean, you know, don't get me wrong, Sam Reeves is a pretty good quarterback, but I mean, like we scouted him before, I mean, once he makes those little wide receiver screens,
off the back foot,
it's like got to be a little tighter spiral, got to be a little quicker than that. I mean, it just looks lazy to me a little bit sometimes. Not calling him lazy at all, don't get me wrong, but I mean, it just kind of just
that matchup earlier this year. Where was that game? Was that at East Surrey or was it at West Stokes?
I believe it was at West Stokes.
At West Stokes, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I
different playing on the other team's home field.
I think Sam Reeves and the receiving crew, they're going to have to open it up a little bit just to kind of keep things balanced out. I mean, you know, if you got East Surrey, they're probably going to stack the box knowing that Aiden Cherry's coming. So, I mean, you got to do something in the passing game as well to try to keep it, you know, like I said, evened out, more balanced out. But I could see that game going into overtime.
Do you think West Oaks wins?
Close. I do.
One thing there is to note about the west side of the bracket, which is odd to me, when the 17 seed beats the 16 seed and the 18 seed beats the 15, it doesn't really feel like an upset. But I'm pretty sure the top 14 seeds won. So there were only like 2 upsets on this side of the bracket, and they were very minor. And then on the other side, 7 of
Oh yeah, the other side of the bracket
lowers.
was
It
ridiculous.
was crazy. It was like
Which, for the years that I've been doing this, is kind of a trend. It seems to happen every year where the East has a bunch of upsets, and it specifically seems to be teams like in Duplin County, like East Duplin or Wallace Rose Hill or lower seeds that are sleeper teams.
So, like I told you earlier, and I'll say it live, my sleeper team, number 1 goes down this week. Green Central beats Northeastern. I'm calling it now. If I'm way wrong, fine. I'm way wrong. But, hey, that's what I'm going with. East Duplin, I think they get to the Sweet 16. I think that's another sleeper, especially on that side.
Let's talk West or Walkertown, the 12 seed taking on 5 seed Salisbury. They won that game in week 2 against Salisbury on the road as well. 47-33. Santana Garcia was 18 of 31 for 314 yards, 4 touchdowns, and an interception. Cam Kelly, 18 for 170 on the ground, 3 touchdowns. And Mitron Curry, 9 receptions, 248 yards, and 3 touchdowns. The difference in the game, obviously we know the skill guys for Walkertown and what they're able to do, but the defense for Walkertown was able to hold the quarterback, Hank Webb, to just 40% completion percentage. So that might be a game where it comes down to defense or a play here or a play there. One thing we know is that Walkertown's already done it this season against Salisbury. That's their only loss, though, on the season for the Hornets, and redemption is a fine thing in playoff football.
Absolutely.
It might create a great atmosphere.
I think with Walkertown, man, when we went and done the game, when Reidsville played them, the one thing I circled is the offense goes when Santana Garcia goes. When he's on, he's on. Now, when he's off, he's throwing at least 3 or 4 interceptions. But, when he's on, he threw, 3 touchdowns to 1 pick against Reidsville, right? He had a very good game. He was making some really good throws. Mitron Curry, and then we had Kelly. Them two, they are shifty. They are fast guys, dude. They are just looking at them in person, they are absolutely speed athletes. I think they can do it again. It's tough.
That's
being a team second time around. It's tough, but I think they can do it again.
That's a young quarterback making young quarterback mistakes and doing young quarterback things. That's the kind of thing you expect out of young quarterbacks is they make mistakes.
Yeah.
And he's going to be all the better for it next year, because if he watches his game film and he learns from his mistakes and he doesn't repeat them, that's what makes you a better player, is learning from the mistakes you make.
That's right.
What we do know is West Stokes and Walkertown, they'll be prepared, led by great coaches, Coach Tripp Honeycutt with Walkertown and Coach Trent Lohman with West Stokes. These quarterbacks, these young guys, these players in the trenches, they'll be prepared with a good game plan to give them a good chance to win.
And we talked to both coaches, Joe. They're night and day. You got Tripp Honeycutt. He's the laid-back, funny guy. Anything you need, he's got you. Trent Lohman, he's the old school dude. He's the man of few words, Bill Belichick type of dude when it's time to go. So night and day between those two. But, they're both winning. It just comes to show that you can win with both styles. That's what I like about, high school sports and then college as well.
Let's shift gears from playoffs to playoffs. Next year, playoffs?
Oh, Lord.
ADM numbers are officially in. Let's get your guys' overall thoughts on the ADM numbers. We'll start by just breaking down simply where our teams will be. In the 5A is Rockingham County, and we'll start with this. Building a conference for this 5A area, it's not going to be pretty. There's not a lot of options here to build a conference in our area. You've got Rockingham County, you've got Southern Guilford, High Point Central. Then it's a kind of a mishmash of teams where I don't know if there can be a full 5A conference for these triad teams.
Joe,
Unless you
you'll
combine
just send
elements.
us wherever to call.
I could put it together.
I see. So you got Rockingham, right? All right. Then you got to go with Eastern Alamance. They're not far off. Southern Guilford for sure. High Point Central. Let me keep going here. Do you go North Forsyth? Do you go that far? I mean, it's not too bad. That's Winston.
My thing is, I go the other direction with it.
Yeah, that's what I would do too.
I go the other direction with it. I take High Point Central.
Okay.
I take Atkins, North Forsyth, Northeast Guilford,
Atkins is
and Oak Grove and Southern Guilford.
What about Western Alamance? Do you play the Western Alamance teams?
Western Alamance and Eastern Alamance can figure out somebody to play over on their side.
Especially considering it's going to be a much further travel distance for some of those teams in Forsyth.
I don't know. Just like we've said before, I mean, this stuff is going to get complicated.
This is off topic, but did they release the playoff formats?
Not yet. Not for next year, no.
Mm-mm.
What do you guys think it'll look like?
It's a good question.
I think West and East go away, and it's the top 32.
How would you do? I thought there's only 20. Wait, I mixed it up. It's 59 teams per.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
I think West and East go away, and it's the top 32. Now, in 8A, I think they go 24, and you have the top 8 have a bye the first week.
Sounds good to me.
Hatley's already got it down pat. We need to go ahead and make him the commissioner.
Commissioner Hatley, your thoughts on Reidsville in 4A?
Reidsville runs roughshod in 4A. I looked at some of the teams that are coming with them. Teams to note, you got Anson, Mount Pleasant, Lexington, West Stokes, Randleman, High Point Andrews, Bunker Hill, Cummings, Southwest Randolph, Ledford, Forbush. Could we see the revival of that Cummings-Reidsville rivalry that was so huge when I was in high school?
Probably so.
I would love to see that resurgence in Cummings just to see that rivalry rekindled. But, as far as the teams that got moved into 4A, and Moorhead is coming into 4A with Reidsville, so of course they're going to be same conference, however they do that conference. But putting together a conference in 4A is going to be even tougher than it will be in 5A.
I agree.
Who determines the conferences? Does NCHSAA just determine that automatically?
They're going by student size, right?
Well, that's how they determine.
Yeah, that's how the ADM was determined.
The ADM, and that's how they determine the divisions.
I'm saying the conferences.
The conferences will be selected by the NCHSAA.
Okay.
That's correct. Yeah.
And how many teams are going to be in each conference?
Well, it all depends on how things work out, and I'm sure there'll be some petitions, but in order to get 2 teams into the playoffs for football, you have to have at least 6 teams.
Well, I'm going to put it nicely. Get ready for a show. That's all I got to say.
Hey, it will give us something to talk about for the next few months of football.
That's true. I agree.
Well, I mean, a lot of these bigger rivalries that we've seen and we've grown accustomed to are not going to be a thing in the playoffs anymore because they're going to different divisions.
Yeah.
Reidsville's not going to see Shelby in the playoffs anymore until possibly realignment in 2029. It's all going to change, and it's going to be new rivalries. It's going to be new competition.
Being that it is a big time rivalry, do you think Reidsville down the road schedules that as a non-conference, as a just to schedule it as a good rivalry game that starts?
Drive 2.5 hours to play a non-conference football game. I think I'd pass, but
I mean, they do say each other that hey, they're the title team, they're the title town. I mean, you know how it is. But I mean, that's a whole different ball. You make some money.
And I'll tell you, Shelby, going into that 3A, that's going to be interesting because there's some teams that came down or come into 3A with them from 2A, and there's also some 1A teams that would give Shelby an absolute war that are coming up 3A. I'm looking at you, Mountain Heritage and Mount Airy.
I was gonna say, does it have an M and an A in it?
Mm-hmm. Oh yes.
I mean, and it's still tough in that. I mean, because you've got Wallace Rose Hill still in that 3A. You've got several other schools that have traditionally good football programs. Northeastern, who's the #1 seed in the East right now. I mean, so you're right.
Yeah, Eastern Randolph is moving up, and they had a knockout football team this year.
Yeah,
Yep,
Wallace
and
Rose
they traditionally do. So let's go to the comments real quick. And the chosen one, I like this idea. I do.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up. I saw that.
Can you guys get a college scout on the show and ask the hard questions? Yeah, we can do that. We got to find one.
Oh, don't think I won't call Liberty. I actually know who she is now.
Oh, yeah, bring it on.
I know who she is now. I actually pulled her to the side. Don't get me wrong. I'm serious. I texted
Hatley's
Phil
middle
after I
name is
did
Tough
this.
Questions. So
The only people that I will not call out on this show or in a broadcast are under the age of 18.
You've called me out multiple times, Hatley.
Wow.
I'm talking players, Jay. You and me going back and forth, that's a little different. We're co-workers at this point.
We're non-athletic regular people.
Poor Ramey.
David West is in the comments, and he says, sorry, David, I'm saying Oregon.
What did he say?
He said, I'm saying Oregon over
Oh,
UNC for Agent
Okay,
Zero.
yeah. I can see that too, man. I mean, Dan Lanning, he's the up and coming new coach. I mean,
That was my pick too.
I see him staying at Oregon for a good while. I mean, just for the simple fact you got unlimited NIL money from the man, Phil Knight. So you can't beat that.
The only thing I know is he won't end up at RCC because they don't have a football program.
And I'll tell you, we're talking about this realignment, and I want to see McMichael's football program improve, get back to some semblance of the days that they were making playoffs and had winning records, and had a good turnout for the team. But going into that 3A gauntlet that they're going into, that's going to be tough, playing against some of those teams that they're going to be up against, especially if they make playoffs.
I mean, I'm throwing this out in left field. Do you think that they're in a conference with Mount Airy?
It's possible.
That's possible.
Yep. I was thinking.
I think it's more likely that they end up with some of the triad teams.
I think you throw them in with Walkertown, Wheatmore,
Providence Grove.
Bartlett, Yancey, Thomasville, Providence Grove, maybe Eastern Randolph.
Okay.
Then again, Joe, us speculating on divisional realignment in the past did not go well at all. It was – me and Joe have kind of a bad track record with these types of predictions, so we're leaving it to you two.
I mean,
I looked at all the matchups. I looked at teams to note, and I'll tell you the division that is going to be the most competitive, and I'm not taking away anything from any other division, but you look at that 6A division. Oh my goodness. Fayetteville 71st, TC Roberson, Mount Tabor, Glenn, Dudley, Ragsdale, Ashbrook, Western Guilford, Eastern Guilford, Northern Guilford, Kings Mountain, AC Reynolds, Southeast Guilford, Burlington Williams, Southern Alamance.
I mean,
is going to be a war zone.
Northern Guilford.
Yeah, Northern Guilford, 6A.
I mean, yeah, it's a gauntlet. There's a couple other teams like Olympic who's had a good year. They're up and coming. They played Shelby very close this year. So yeah, I mean that is a tough division.
I mean, does that division right there put Dudley back down as winning maybe 6 or 7 ball games instead of going undefeated?
I'll never say that. I'll have to see that first. before
I
I say
mean,
it could
they're
happen.
still going to be facing a lot of the same competition as far as conference goes, and
Mhm.
they're still going to play the same teams in the area.
You know me. I play
You
some
know,
devil's advocate here.
Northern Guilford is going to give them a harder time than they had this year.
hmm
Um, Western Guilford possibly give them a harder time than they had this year.
You think Western
Uh,
Guild? Okay.
They've had a great year, yeah.
Southern Alamance, they've got a good football team.
Could 8A end up just making all of their teams go to the playoffs?
They could.
I don't see it happening because, then what's the incentive?
But 32 is just a weird cutoff point.
I think it'll be top 16.
See, that's why I said top 24 and the top 8 seeds have a first round bye.
That's
Yeah.
possible too.
Yeah,
That's
I like-
probably more likely. Because
I
they'll want
like
to keep
that
everything
idea.
uniform.
Yeah, and they want the I hate to say it, but it comes down to the money. They want the revenue.
That's what it is. They need the cheddar. This is how they make their cheddar.
Hatley, you have got it down pat when it comes to this stuff. You got my vote.
Professor Hatley.
You got my vote.
So let's look at the ADM numbers. Any final thoughts on this, guys, before we move on to our final topics?
Give it to Hatley. Give it to the professor. Let's go, buddy. What else you got?
I mean, okay. Let's see. We talked about 5A, Rockingham having to run across what they're going to have to run across. You got South Point in there, and they're dangerous. Hickory is going to 5A, and Hickory's a great football team. And they're going to be facing the Western Alamances and a lot of the same teams that they faced already. High Point Central, they weren't a very good football team this year, but they've been good in the past. Northeast Guilford's always hit or miss, but they're dangerous. A lot of speed. Their skill players are always good. Crest is in there. North Lincoln with that triple option is in there.
Mm-hmm.
Monroe is track speed across the board.
Yep.
Oak Grove, up and coming program. They've only been around 7-8 years.
I'm gonna tell you.
They pulled from North Davidson and Ledford.
So when you go to the high school talk page, make sure you look for all those Oak Grove posts. Oak Grove who?
Oh yeah, I saw all that.
Have you seen that?
Talking about getting to Oak Grove to schedule reads.
Oh man, I mean,
We need
the
to
Oak
start
Grove
playing
conversation
advertising
has
on
started.
there.
But yeah, that group, they always want to start something.
Oh, they get it. Look, man, I'm telling you,
They get lit. It's fun.
The Shelby game, it was a couple of guys that got in there, and we knew who they were. They were like, okay, they're here for listen to Shelby. They want to see what they got going on, but they get lit in our comment section too. I mean, once it gets going, especially if Shelby and Reedsville were to meet. I mean,
oh yeah, when they get on that collision course,
absolutely lit up. I mean, it is. I don't think anybody ever sleeps on that page. It stays lit up all the time.
I'm telling you, Joe, you guys start running ads on there.
You can sleep when you're dead. High school football talk page is where it's at. No doubt about it. Well, the great community there. Let's shift gears to our great community and what has happened here in Eden over this week in support of Trooper Wright and what has happened with him. And good to see that he's doing well. But check this out, guys. Check this video out. This was at Santana's yesterday on Tuesday. The line was so long, they were doing a benefit for Trooper Wright, $30 for a meal at Santana's. Look at that. Look at how many people showed up. $30,000 in profit was made, 100% going towards Trooper Wright and his family. $30,000. So I just want to, for the local Gridiron RoCo Radio, say our thanks to the community. Here's the cool thing, man. things aren't done yet. Debbie's Catering in Stoneville is hosting something on Thursday. I've gotten my lasagna. I got my lasagna plate coming.
Circle Drive-In tomorrow, one of our sponsors.
Yep, Circle Driving is doing great things as well. Tomorrow, there is a GoFundMe page. I would consider, if you're interested in helping out, to head on over to the MHS Touchdown Club page, and you can find out all the great ways to help out and help Trooper Wright and his family. But, man, I just wanted to show this for those that maybe have not seen just the line. I know I know Jonathan went, we went, David, Jay went. The line was crazy, wasn't it?
So my wife
Some people spent 3.5 hours in it.
And, you know, if it wasn't for Charlotte being as young as she is, you know, she would have stayed in line the whole time. But, I mean, you wound up having to go to Taco Bell. And even at Taco Bell, and you know how far that is, the line was there. Yep. It was there. That's a line.
I got in pretty early as far as for dinner. You know, I got in line about 4:30. I was back at the house by 5, and I lived 5 minutes from Santana's, if that.
Oh.
But y'all need to check out Circle Drive-In tomorrow for that one.
We should have jumped in Hatley's car with them. We should have gone up there.
See, with Hatley's big money, he lives right there on the golf course. I know where he lives at now.
Oh, I wish.
So we talking about $500,000. He drives his golf cart up to Santana's and gets it. He's probably VIP too. I know
he lives in the golf cart.
Tell me the truth. But I mean, man, that is fantastic. I mean, just a small community of Eden. You're talking $30,000 worth of food that strictly goes to the family. I mean, Santana's, you win my vote.
Yeah, shout out to the Flores family for doing that.
You win my vote. Yeah, I'm going to Santana's from here on out.
Yeah, it's pretty clear where I'm going in Eden next
Absolutely.
time.
We all need to buy those Trooper Wright shirts that they're giving out too.
Yep,
I got mine.
We've got details on RoCo Radio on how you can grab those as well.
Yep.
And there's so many there's a GoFundMe. And like I mentioned, Debbie's in Stoneville. You can reserve your meal tonight, by heading over to the Debbie's Facebook page, and it shows you how to do it. And so you can just walk in tomorrow and grab the, pardon me, guys, I don't know if it's chicken francais, chicken France, chicken francais. It's either that with green beans or lasagnas. So
y'all don't have that in Michigan, do you?
Nah. We got
y'all even have green beans in Michigan?
String beans, baby. Green beans. Yes, sir.
No sweet tea? Y'all don't have sweet tea in Michigan.
What is sweet tea?
Oh, here we go. See, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like everything.
I'll never forget the first time I had sweet tea in North Carolina. I thought I was drinking pure octane sugar water.
You absolutely right.
Do you like it now?
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
I mean, I'll drink it.
It's okay. Joe, we need to go down to Circle Drive-In tomorrow. They'll be sponsoring Trooper. All of the proceeds are going to him tomorrow. We can double up, go to Debbie's too. I mean, I'm not opposed to eating good.
Oh,
hey, no offense, Jay, but you could put some meat on them bones too. I'm just saying, you might need a little extra protein.
Don't make me show off my dad bod during the live show.
Hey, Patrick Mahomes has a dad bod. There's nothing wrong with it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, I'm telling you, man, when it comes to good eating, hey, this is what we do, baby. I eat. Hey, going to Circle Drive-In and getting those hot dogs. So I'm getting 4 of them. I'm getting 4. Mustard, chili, and slaw. They got some of the best hot dogs in
2
town.
of each hand.
I'm telling you, no doubt. I'm getting the
double fisting.
Huh? Oh, absolutely. Well,
he's just alternating.
I had a comment for that. I'll keep it to myself.
$20 is $20.
There you go.
It's the local Gridiron on RoCo Radio. Glad to have you this week. We will be in Reedsville Community Stadium, Jimmy Teague Field on Friday as it's number 17 East Rutherford taking on number 1 Reedsville. We'll have your pregame show at 6:45 on RoCoRadio.com, right here on Facebook and on YouTube by searching for RoCo Radio. We'll have an extended pregame show where we'll talk about the playoffs. You'll hear from head coach Eric Teague as well, and we'll get you ready for kickoff at 7:30. Be there. Don't be square. Be whatever you want to be. That's how we roll. You can show up and be whatever you want to be. Just enjoy the high school football.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, as long as you ain't got nothing sugar-free as in Pepsi, I think we'll be all right. So other than that, I mean, yeah, I'm ready to get that crowd mic. I'm ready to go to community
I
stadium.
have no clue what y'all are talking about.
I've been drinking sugar-free Pepsi for
so
the
my
last
man-
5 weeks.
My brother from another mother, he's on a diet right now. He's rocking and rolling, trying to watch his carbs, Weight Watchers. I don't know. I don't do that stuff. I mean, it's me. Like Hatley said, I'm double fisting.
You watch the carbs go through the stomach. That's what you do.
I'm taking my cholesterol medicine, which I am 35. I'm on cholesterol medicine. Don't get me wrong. Just genetics. Nothing I can do about it. But, hey, I'm stuffing my
David,
face. Huh?
I'm 10 years older than you, and I'm not on cholesterol medicine. That's a
Hey,
problem, dude.
So it's genetics, man. It really is. You know,
It's
that's-
genetics as he downs 4 hot chili dogs from Circle.
Hey, nothing is going to stop me from eating. It's just like when we went down to Shelby. Guess where we stopped at? Golden Corral. Don't tell my wife, but we stopped at Golden Corral.
You did.
Yeah, just put it on for all.
Yeah, you just told the whole internet.
And I did. Well, she's going to listen anyway. So, I mean, she knows I'm going to eat good regardless. But, I mean, you know, I'll get a salad and I got 10 gallons of Thousand Island on it. Still good, though.
He downed it, though. I am proof. I
You got
am
a
the
salad
witness.
at Golden Corral?
I did before
You
I
did.
went for the main course. You
Let's
start
stop
with
this broadcast.
Hey, I got a fried fish salad. It was good. Just a pile of fried fish.
There you go.
And
Hey,
I'm
you
down
put
20
one pi-
pounds. I'm gonna
One
keep
piece
drinking
of
this.
lettuce a salad makes.
Now, I don't know.
That is true.
No.
I don't know what kind of meat Joe was eating because it looked to me like one big burnt mushroom.
Of course.
I don't know what it was. What was that? What was that you was eating?
It was horse meat.
At Golden Corral, they call that Salisbury steak.
That was not Salisbury steak. That was not. I know a good Salisbury steak. That is not Salisbury steak. I don't know what that was.
No,
I mean,
Golden Corral's good.
Oh, I love some Golden Corral. I wish they still had one.
That was my boot from basic training covered in gravy is what that was.
Basic.
Oh God.
Your boot might have been a little less rubbery, though.
Oh, probably so. Probably so. I'm gonna
It's
tell
a
you
little-
what, guys. It has been absolutely amazing. It's been fun. The kid, Hatley, you know, Joe. We've been doing this for a couple years now. I mean, this year has been absolutely fun. Blessed to be a part of this whole broadcast, part of you guys' lives. I mean, it's been awesome. I appreciate you guys. I really do.
Me too. Loving it.
Oh yeah, it's been great.
It's the local Gridiron RoCo Radio. See you Friday from the field. It's Reedsville, East Rutherford. Be there. Don't be square. Be a Ram. Blue Death. Local Gridiron. Let's go.
Hey, check it. Hey, check it. Put the place up. Smile like the